What we're discussing here today appears to be an anomalous site in Utah. I haven't seen another igneous intrusion like this anywhere else in the state. It sticks out like a sore thumb on aerial satellite imagery, including Google Earth. A similar natural feature has been discussed by Native Americans for hundreds of years. Oral traditions of several different bands of Native Americans describe that site as being origin to their ancestors. It was where their forefathers survived a major catastrophic event in the past, only to later be led up out of the underworld by other beings. The same site was of the utmost importance to those beings of large stature, some of whom became deities to those living here in the past. The federal government calls it a mesa, which it's not. The entire geologic feature is made up of rocks, lots of rocks, a boulder field, if you will. It's an extremely difficult climb to the top of the feature, which has a maximum elevation of 11,010 feet. I quickly discussed this location in a prior presentation on YouTube and live at 2 presentations in Vernal, Utah. Some stories about a feature such as this have been told as far south as current-day Mexico. My friends and colleagues have heard me reference it as the Paradise Mound because of its proximity to Paradise Lake. That name seems to be sticking. It's no easy climb. If you attempt to get to the top, watch your step, wear good hiking boots, and watch out for southern weather changes. Storms come out of nowhere, and this is all year around. You don't want to find yourself stuck up here during a snow blizzard or a major downpour of rain. The views of the Uinta Mountains from the Mound are majestic, to say the least. Why I was here was because of so many stories told that have partial similarities to a feature such as this below it, or disguising a large void structure or sacred mine. I believe that origin for many indigenous peoples of the Americas is here, or at least very close by. Treasure hunters may have heard this underground called Karishanab, which I'm hesitant to believe because of who this information came from. Others say this area contains the Mormon mine or Brigham Young mine. That now is not so far-fetched. I believe the site was known to the early Mesoamericans as Tamhuan Khan. Nahua legend speaks of this being the cradle of life for the ancestors of the Americas. Did the Aztec originate from this area, only to later create their first home that became known as Aztlan elsewhere in West Utah? Other Native American mythology states that giants mined and ruled this area long ago, and that an entrance to the underground was hidden away by a huge capstone only a giant could have put on or removed. Let me tell you, there were a lot of stones that could have qualified for a large capstone up on this summit. The lake in the background is Paradise Lake. If you look closely, you can see one of 3 stone monuments that was created long ago on top of the mound. Different sources state that the monuments were created by the Spaniards that were here hundreds of years ago. They too found out about the underground depository and mine and marked the spot with the 3 separate monuments which form a triangle between them. The 3 X's mark the locations of the rock monument markers. This is the northernmost marker, just short of the edge of the mountaintop. It's been there for hundreds of years. Parts of this monument have collapsed or been knocked down purposely. This one large stone caught my eye as it was within the center of the 3 monuments and would have required someone of great stature to place it where it's located. And yes, it could have also been moved by several normal-sized individuals. It would have been difficult, however, since there is nowhere to get one's footing. There appeared to be a cavity below. Unfortunately, the entire mountaintop is a boulder field, meaning voids are below everywhere, thus rendering my 3D ground imager ineffective. It would pick up cavities below just about anywhere. This was another void that my friend Wayne and I dug out for a while. It became too difficult to pull any more boulders out from the hole we created. Again, this is Monument 3, north side. Same monument. Now this is Monument 2, located almost directly in the center of the mountaintop, or closest to the summit. It too looks to have been taller, and parts of the top have now fallen or were purposely taken down. If so, what made the top? Was there a sight hole that helped locate an underground entrance in the boulder field? Same monument. Again, the same. I'm not sure what happened with the photo taken here. I got some type of double exposure. I'm convinced that this mound conceals one of three entrances into an ancient site the Mesoamericans call Tamuancan. It was origin for many people of the Americas. The site was the final resting place for many chiefs of the past, and there's a possibility of there also containing burials of the gods, which were beings of great stature, large in height. Below ground may hold ancient records of lost or forgotten about cultures and or civilizations, and possibly historical artifacts, some of which are reported to be made of gold, silver, copper, and bronze. This is the final monument and the one in the best condition. You immediately notice how well built it is, how much taller it is than the others, making them believe that the others may have been of similar height once. And finally, notice the sight hole at the top. Does that hole mean to sight in on something on the monument top or out southeast onto another location of the high Uintas? It was clearly made to mark something of importance, just as we had been told by multiple sources. One of those sources was from a journal written in the late 1800s. For hours we searched the mound. We continued to try and line up the three monuments and locate a central location within the triangle that they formed together. It was extremely difficult to see anything below all the rocks. This one boulder appears to have been manipulated by someone in the past and turned into a chair or an altar, which is near the largest of the rock monuments. This was one rock that had potential for being a large capstone. This location has great potential for being a possible entrance. Again, I can't use my technology here, and it's going to take better equipment than I had to do any type of real excavating and searching below ground. Here it is again, and some of you may be wanting to know who owns this area. It's Bureau of Land Management territory within the Ashley National Forest of the Uinta Mountains. So here was something I did notice. One section of the top of the mound is unusual. There are shrubs and brush growing in this single area and nowhere else. Where did all this dirt come from that has allowed for this growth? Yes, there are high winds and some soils could have been deposited here, but this one area has a lot, almost as if someone dug and left all the pilings of the excavation in this location. I consider this area worth searching with additional specialized equipment at a later date. What an excellent way to camouflage an entrance into an underground site. We located large stones that had potential for covering up an entrance within the foliage. This is one of those stones. This was another grouping of large boulders directly in the middle of the foliage. Here it is from a distance. Unfortunately, we couldn't make a dent in removing these stones. The job will require different tools and greater manpower. After hours of searching, we decided to call it a day and retreat from the mound. A lot of planning and different equipment will be needed next time to continue the search. My friend Wayne and I were outmatched this time around, but we're not giving up. There's something up there too important to quit going after. I truly believe there's an Aztec and other Mesoamerican connection this far up in modern-day Utah. Next time we'll be better equipped to find out what's hidden below all these rocks. Please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a lot of new material to put out over the next couple of months. Until next time, remember to stay curious about what's below your feet.